on Facebook Live, or people that look like me rather. Oh, great. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us at home. Thank you for joining us in the audience. You're watching DidsburyFM, Fabulous Mums and Dads, and all Community Network. We're on to our second speaker. How good was Matt? First of all, he was great, and he's gone off to bed now for his 5 a.m. start. This is his poster. We've got one on all your desks and tables. Please support him. So our next guest is Liz Hardy. Hello, Liz.
Hi.
Liz, we're going to start from kind of the beginning. You're head teacher at Beaver Road First School. Because we're a community network, there are people here from all other schools as well. So Beaver Road is split into the first school and the second school.
Yes.
And it's an academy. So the old head teacher, Mr. Howe, who's been on this show, is the executive.
Yes.
And so you're the next big cheese, effectively. Or you're probably the first big cheese. You're running it all. But are you head of the first school?
Yes.
Right.
I'm head teacher of the first school, and David is executive head of the whole school, and he's based at the junior school.
Brilliant. Now you started in 2017.
Yes.
Right. And where did you come from? I don't mean miles or anything, but you came from within the Manchester area, but certainly not Didsbury. Is that right?
Yes, it is. I was head teacher at...
Can I ask you to speak up a bit? Can you all hear?
Sorry.
All right.
I'll use my teacher voice.
We don't need it here. Fine.
I was head teacher at Martin's Croft Nursery School and Children's Centres in Hume.
Right. Excellent. And how long were you there for?
I was there for 6 years.
Okay. Now, this is a bit about careers, which we always do. Did you go to university? What did you study? And did you always know you wanted to be a teacher? 3 questions in one.
Okay. Yes, I did want to be a teacher, so I went to university to study a BA Honours Music with qualified teacher status. I did that for 4 years, and then went straight into teaching in 1997.
Wow.
My first teaching job was in a primary school in Stockport.
Oh, how glamorous. Wow. So, and were you in, because your special focus is early years, or your interest, is that right? Or
well, it's primary, but for my latter years, before coming to Beaver Road, I did specialise in 0 to 5s, but I'm trained for primary school 0 to 12s.
0 to 12s, excellent. Now, Martin's Croft, who is a school that you came from to Beaver Road,
yes,
is really renowned for people who don't know for being an excellent school, and you did a lot there. And so I suppose, what's the attraction of Beaver Road? Especially now there is going to be 5 form entry. I just wondered, what sort of your kind of passion for it is and was, and why did you want to come?
Okay, well, David Howe is a national leader, as you know. I became a national leader as well some years ago, so as national leaders we network regularly. And it was actually David who approached me and talked a little bit about the vision and how they're growing the school, and asked me if I knew anybody who might be interested in taking on the leadership role. Wow. So I said, no, I don't. He said, I don't mean, do you know anybody? So I reluctantly came and had a look round, actually. And then when I came around, I have to say, just for the first walk round the school, I did actually really fall in love with it. And Martin's Croft had the most amazing time there, and I really didn't think I was going to even want to consider leaving. But when I saw the opportunities and the vision, and the whole ethos is very similar to my old school, and meeting the team and the people and the community, I actually knew it was the right thing to go for it, so I dipped my toe in the water and applied.
Yeah, so, wow. I'm very pleased to have you for that. There's no bias towards Beaver Road, we're neutral. So, having come from that background now, you've been at Beaver Road now for coming up for 2 years, really, and you've implemented a lot of your own feel. But can you just share with us what it's like to step into somewhere where you've had sort of one charismatic leader for a number of years with a certain vision? Well, how's that been in terms of transitioning? And especially because he lives in the community. It's
been absolutely brilliant. David and I have to say we share the same vision and ethos for the children. It's very much child-centred, child-led. empowering the team to step up, play to people's strengths. So in that respect, it's been great. David is really experienced. He's been head teacher in 4 previous schools, so this is only my 2nd school. So it's been great to have the privilege of learning alongside him. It is very different, splitting the school across two sites. And it's been challenging, but I think we've worked well together with the team. It's not without its challenges, but yeah, it's been a real privilege.
Absolutely. So I've got to ask you the elephant in the room, which is that Beaver Road has become a 5 elementary school on 2 split sites. Do you think that's necessary, and can we really keep that community feel in schools? I'm not talking about Didsbury COV, which is just, the 1 elementary, 2nd site has very different styles and feels. Broad Oak, very different. But, looking at the community as a whole, how do you see a 5 form entry, which is rare in this country, panning out to still having a community, not a corporate feel?
Okay. Well, when David came, I don't know how much he talked about why the school decided to go down the road to splitting, but for those of you who don't know, the land where the junior school is, there was going to be a 2 elementary primary school built there, regardless of whatever happened because of the planning for the housing. So that land was already gifted for a school, and the local authority were really keen that it kept very much as part of the community. So the Beaver Road and Mr Howe was approached by the local authority to actually be, rather than have another academy come in and set up a new school in such close proximity to all of the other schools that could be quite different. That's how the school was approached in the first place. So all of the decisions around becoming 5 elementary across 2 sites was made before I came.
Before you came, yeah.
So in terms of, obviously it's still really early days. We've not even, we're not even 6 months in.
No, it's not even painted. But that's
so there's still time and there's still lots to do. But I think I certainly feel at the first school, not at the junior school a lot, but at the first school, it's very much around creating that small school feel.
Absolutely.
School.
Absolutely.
And I know you've got a
little
one in reception and one in year 2. And I think that for me, it's about then how we lead that and have the systems and the structures that we have in place that enable it to still be that community school. That actually, I really do think it's growing into the more opportunities that we've have for the children and families that we've been able to grow. We've got a brilliantly active PTA, which is just getting stronger, which we're really delighted about. Tomorrow, we're opening our new nursery building. So it's all good to go. So the nursery children will be moving in there tomorrow, and then the old nursery classrooms one of them will be used very much for community space during the day. So again, in terms of building community, we're wanting to do some provision for the younger preschool children. And the new nursery environment, I'm looking at Sian, because she's got a daughter in nursery. It's been a very exciting week, so we worked rather late on Friday, but it's absolutely worth it, and the team are absolutely buzzing for tomorrow morning, so it looks amazing.
So your own vision, because you're very much around and you talk a lot about team, is that your leadership style? So sort of more collaborative, involve the different heads and be around so people can approach you. Is that your leadership? Because different leadership styles, autocratic and what, so on and so forth. Is that kind of how you see your vision?
Absolutely. I'm really passionate about collaboration and working together, building on strengths, like I said. For me, I know you're going to ask me a community question, but for me, the whole thing about community is working together collaboratively, building on strengths, empowering others, but actually being really child-centred. And for me, community, whether it's within a school or within a wider area, it's about working together for the benefit of everybody. So it's inclusive, so nobody gets left behind. And I think that's really important. And actually so that everybody within that community can reach their potential and be the best that they can be. And actually for everyone to be contributors. So for me, my vision as a leader is about getting everybody on board and I think it's true to say at Beaver Road that the team at Beaver Road is incredible. Everybody really does pull together, and that's not just the staff who work there. That's the parents, the children, the local community.
Which is what you found having been there.
Yes.
All right. Well, enough plugging for Beaver Road. Can I just move on a bit and ask you about you personally?
Yeah, you can.
You're a mum yourself, aren't you?
I am.
And you've got a son and a daughter.
Yes, that's right.
And your husband is also a teacher.
Yes.
So do you just talk about the curriculum all the time?
Well, looking at my daughter, she'd probably say yes when they were younger. One of the things we've always have done is have dinner together. And I remember the children growing up, sometimes we'd get home and I remember Lee saying, well, she was my wife before she was your mummy. I'm going to talk to her first. And then you can ask her all the questions you want to ask her. But for us, the meal table has always been actually a really good time to talk. But I'm sure my daughter and my son, who's not here, he's at university, would be the first to say that we talk too much school.
Yeah.
But they never want to be teachers.
And your son who's not here is at university.
Yes.
Now, one of the things which I'm sure you're going to tell us about is this. Beaver Road has traditionally always held a concert at Manchester Cathedral to raise money and support the Christie. And the Christie is a special hospital for lots of people in our community, not just because it's here in our postcode area, but doing lots of fantastic work with lots of children, as is a children's hospital. But for you, you've got a special reason why you support the work of the Christie, and it's related to your son. And I just wondered, because you've been on my radio show, or our radio show, Tuesdays 5 to 7, for those who don't listen, All FM, 96.9 FM, the real voice of Manchester. I know part of this, but I just wondered if you can just share with us why you're so passionate about it, because those of us who are mothers who've had a horrible time with children and incidents in our life, got a shocker, and your son was quite ill when he had a diagnosis. Would you mind sharing it with us?
Yes. I can talk about it now without crying, so that's quite.
We'll get a glass of wine
quite
after.
Good. When our son was in the middle of his GCSEs, he'd had a lump removed at the Easter before his GCSEs, and we found out in the middle of his GCSEs that it was a very rare form of cancer. So they didn't have a diagnosis for it. The consultant actually said it was the widest travelled lymphoma. It had been to 4 different research hospitals. So I'm sure you can relate that we went through all sorts of different emotions because we didn't know what it meant. We didn't know where initially he was going to be treated. At first we were going to be under the Children's Hospital because we had no diagnosis. And then another 3 weeks later, we were able to diagnose it, and we were then referred to the Christie. So it was quite a traumatic time in our life, and I can honestly say that the support that we had and we received from the Christie and the NHS was just phenomenal, and we found our new normal. That's what they say, that's how they describe it. It was a very painful first year. We're still under the Christie. We don't know how long we'll be there for, but we celebrate every milestone. So they've said he'll be on our watch and wait programme for at least probably 10 years, depending on whether the cancer returns or not. So there's no prognosis for his form of cancer because it's so rare. So in fact, I was just saying to Sian, we're part of a research programme. Well, I say we, my son is, but we're on that journey with him. So we just don't know. So he's had some lumps that then come and go, and I remember on holiday last year he got some lumps in his neck because that was where the lump was, and I have to say we both just wanted to come home, didn't we? But you just have to put on a brave face and be strong and pull together.
Yeah. And can I ask you, because we've got varying age people in the room, how did you find the lump? I mean, he's doing GCSEs, he's 16. I mean, even as adults, girls will check your breasts. All those little things that I suppose people don't do. regularly. So how did he find it? Had you spotted it as his mum? You know, people
No,
are living
he
with
found
him.
it. It was a lump just here under his chin that just suddenly started to grow quite large, so you could see it. He'd always described it as looks like he'd got a double chin. So it was just here, just literally at the back of his neck.
Yeah. And now is he at the music college?
He's at the Royal Northern College of Music.
And he's having a well of a time now.
Yes.
But I wondered, you know, does the fact that he's got it and the impact on the family, has that made you as a family sort of more? I know in our family, every day is a celebration. I was about to swear, actually, I won't. But you know, do you tend to really appreciate life a lot more? You know, school is school, college is college, and so on and so forth, with a sense of normality, or you know, are you a bit more careful?
No, I think actually, when things happen to you, I mean, it just shapes who you are, and it becomes another part of your tapestry, really, doesn't it? I think it's definitely, you re-evaluate your life and think, well, you only have one life. Every day matters, every year matters, no matter how young or old you are. And actually, I think for our son particularly, and for us as parents, and when we're both teachers, we're like, yeah, follow your dreams, you know, follow your vision. But actually, to really do that, and it was a big step for our son to go to music college. In fact, he only started playing his instrument a year before he actually got a place there. And I think one of the things, and this was after his diagnosis, and I think actually we were like, yeah, okay, we'll support you, we'll do what you want to do, even though I'm going, how much is it to audition for each one? Maybe just audition for 3. And then actually he got offered all 3. Apparently he's an amazing talent, so we're told. But actually we know he is, because he's our son and we're very proud of him. But yeah, I think you do. In fact, it was around that time that I'd found out as well about the opportunity to come to Beaver Road, and I was quite content where I was, and actually I think it was one of the things that made me think, yeah, life's too short, why not go for it, why not try be part of creating something new and different. And so yeah, I think it does shift your mindset to, you know, live life to the max.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you were looking at your husband and children, which is very nice. But you actually don't live in the area, do you?
No.
Previously, we know that Mr. Howe lives there. We won't give his address away. But he was asked a pertinent question by me when he was on. And you haven't always lived in there. Are you quite contented with that? Or do you think the head teachers should be in the community, seeing what's going on?
No, I'm quite content with that. I know lots of heads who don't live in the community. I have to be honest, it's quite nice to have a 20-minute drive home and not be bumping into children all the time, although David loves it.
Yeah.
No, we don't live far away, we live in Sale. And in fact, I worked in Timperley for some years, which is just literally 5 minutes down the road. So from when we've lived in Sale since 2001, so we still got a lot of friends who live in Didsbury. A lot of our musician friends live in Didsbury, so we're fairly familiar with Didsbury. Some of our best friends live here, so we know here quite well.
Brilliant. Now, £1 million. You've told us about community.
Yes.
I've got it here. We're trying to open a youth centre. There's another plug for young people. That crowdfunding. We've become a bit slow, Sarah, on this, but we need to get it back. What would you spend your £1 million on a philanthropic endeavour?
Okay. Well, you asked me that on the radio, and I said I'd give it all to the Christie, but I'd probably give half to cancer research and half to the Christie. And I'm sure you can probably all understand why. Been fundraising, been doing the Shine Walk for quite a few years as well to raise money for cancer research. So it's something that's close to my heart, and it affects so many people. And they do such an amazing work, as do the Christie as well. And they have their own research centre there as well.
Yeah.
So, and I think when you've got a son who you know potentially, you know, the hospitals have saved his life if that lump hadn't been removed, if it hadn't been diagnosed, if he wasn't having all of this research, then you just, I think until you've, well, you do know, but a lot of us experience, we all know somebody who's been affected by cancer.
Yeah.
So it's something that is about saving lives and really making a difference to the families as well who have to live with those affected. Because as a mother and a father, you wish that you were the one with the cancer, not your child. And I think you go through all of those. Why him? Why not me? And you've got grandparents, my parents saying, well, we've had our lives, why have we got it? Why haven't we got it? Why has he got it? And you can't answer all of those questions. But when you get the right support, and Macmillan are amazing as well in the service that they provide, it really does make a difference to help you cope.
Go through. Absolutely. So what do you do for well-being? We're big into well-being, not running marathons like that, but what do you
I walk them. I walk marathons. I don't run them.
Yeah. So what do you do for, you have this school, it's big, it's new, you've got your son, you've got a family. What do you do, or what tips can you give us about well-being?
I've got amazing friends. We all need brilliant friends that we can go out with. And I go walking with them regularly. We have a menagerie of animals and pets at home, so we love our dog. I love walking actually, and I love the outdoors. So we have a touring caravan. So when everyone's jetting off here, there and everywhere, we're off in our caravan. Great outdoors. I grew up, my mum and dad has a trailer tent, so I've always really enjoyed the outdoors. So for me, going for a nice walk, nice leisurely campsite somewhere. Just when the children were younger, they used to absolutely love playing outside and meeting friends and making friends in that free, open environment. So I have to say I absolutely love the countryside. And one of the best things I think about living in Didsbury, Sale, South Manchester, is we're literally on the doorstep of so many amazing places where we can go walking and hiking and touring. So
Absolutely. Well, I was slightly suspicious of that answer because it doesn't involve any alcohol.
Well, surely caravanning and alcohol go hand in hand.
Well, I didn't want to infer that.
If anyone who knows caravanning and has an awning, it is a divorce in a bag. So it has to be done with a glass of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, can we give a round of applause to... So this is the opportunity, the format now. Has anybody got any questions? Man there, if you say who you are.
Hello, I'm Tim, a Didsbury resident. I'm interested about your transition from being a teacher to becoming a head teacher.
Okay.
And what was so different about that, and how prepared did you feel you were to move from teaching role to...
That's a really good question, because I've been asked many a time, have you always wanted to be a head teacher? And the answer's been no. Never been ambitious, and actually my mum and dad still can't believe I do the job I do. I'm the youngest of three, and I've always been quite laid back. I think I've been really fortunate in my career path. So I've taught in 4 different authorities, been teaching for 22 years, so I've managed to have quite a few different experiences. And I think I've just been one of these people who, the head will say, oh Liz, I think you'd be really good at, I know you do music, but it'd be really good if you took on the literacy. Oh, okay then. I think it'd be really good if you became a consultant for it and helped some other people. And then with that has come training and opportunities. And then when my children were younger, I worked part-time and I became the first children's centre teacher in Trafford. And that was kind of really my path then into leadership, and I had the opportunity to do an MPQ ICL, which is an integrated centre leadership programme. Before I knew it, I was running a group of 3 children's centres, so that's sort of where my leadership path started really. I think I've just been one of these people who have been really passionate at what I do, and then opportunities have sort of come my way, and I'm a bit like, oh yeah, I'll have a try at that, quite interested in that. And then the training has been invaluable as well. So I've been really fortunate to get that qualification. That was when the Centre for Educational Leadership was still part of Manchester University. Right. So that was really good. And then I think networking and working alongside other leaders and sharing good practice. I think some of the best some of the best learning from that is about when you're going into a leadership role in school is very much about being your own leader and not having this sort of, because that's what I always used to say, oh, I'm not a head teacher, I'm not one of those people who go around with a, you know, big authority and suits, and I'm just not that sort of person. So I'd always say, oh no, I can't do that role. But I think I've just learned to be me, and I think that's some of the best learning really. And my passion is very much about working collaboratively, and I'm one of those people who've always learned so much from others and had that opportunity to do that, and then to see how that coaching style and working collaboratively with other people brings out the best in them as well. So I think I'm well prepared. So I've been doing the role 8 years now, and I do really enjoy it. That's not to say it's not stressful and I don't have sleepless nights, but I think when you know what you do for the right reasons, and it's always child-centred and the best for the children and the best for the team that you're working with, it makes it really worthwhile, because you see the difference that you make to children's lives, and what can be more rewarding than that, you know, when you
We can tell you're passionate.